Hi, everyone. Welcome to Empowered with Gina podcast. And here we are on a new format, this virtual podcast situation, which gives us a lot of flexibility. So much so that I can connect with people like Miss Heather Reese, who is joining us today on the East Coast. Hi, Heather.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so happy you're here. And I met you virtually. I haven't met you in person. We met each other virtually, what, probably a year ago, I would say.
Probably, yeah, for
And I
sure.
went to your page. I'm like, oh, yes, honey. and, and we connected, and we have a lot of obviously parallels and synergies, etc. So before we get into learning about you, I always start my podcasts asking my guests three adjectives to describe themselves.
Um, Bold, um, brave, um, and beautiful.
Oh, yes, 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 and yes.
All bees.
Oh, I love them. The bad is me. Okay, tell me where you grew up. Where did Heather, where's little Heather from? Who is she?
Yeah, sure. So I'm adopted from Peru, and I was adopted into a house in Delaware. So my parents are from Delaware.
Okay.
Um, and it was a pretty interesting upbringing. My parents are both really white. My mom is Jewish and my dad's like a hippie from California. So I had never been around other Latinas like in my life until I was an adult. And then it became like this really insane like parallel of my life of trying to like figure out like where my culture plays a role because as much as like I had never been accepted into the culture because I wasn't raised to speak Spanish, I very much look Spanish and there was no hiding it, right? So it was an interesting upbringing, as easy to put it.
Oh my gosh. And how old do you remember? Were you old enough or you were a baby?
When I was adopted, I was a baby.
Okay. Oh my gosh, I love that. I love this. Okay, so you grew up in Delaware, you said?
Yeah.
Okay, how how was that? Was school, so I always ask this question, was school and education pushed in your family?
Yes, yes. So my mom is very educated. She is a computer scientist. She has her graduate degree. She's a college degree. Um, so yeah, she was always big into education, and she was like very much like the matriarch. Like she was the breadwinner. My dad, was like a lab tech, I think, at the time. But so she was very much like, you're gonna be educated, you're gonna be smart, you're gonna work in a field that probably a lot of women aren't in,
Mm.
but you're going to be like a powerhouse in it. Like no matter what you pick, you're going to figure it out. And she pushed for education. I went to amazing schools. I went to a private school growing up, and it was really great.
That's fantastic. So then did you went all the way, what's the highest level of education you went?
I
Oh,
have my JD.
yeah, JD, right?
Yeah.
Law school. So you pursued the law school route, and I'm always interested in women who've done that, especially women who like are the minority, and I use that word very lightly. Um, why did you always want to be a lawyer, or where did that come from?
Yeah, so I always tell people like I'm not really like an underdog in the way that because I'm adopted, I'm very honest about my privilege and my background. Like my parents were both very privileged. They gave me an amazing upbringing. They knew lawyers when I went into law school. I always had help with people like getting me into good networking, having a good mentor. My best friend's dad was an attorney. So like when I was in high school, I got to go watch him do arbitrations and like that's what really made me fall in love with the law was getting to go see these things like live and in person and then having somebody be able to mentor me through the process as a young girl. So it really was an amazing thing. So for me, I knew that's what I was always going to be because it just made sense when the first time I saw him do an arbitration, the first time I saw his ability to story tell with facts and pull emotions from people. I said, that's what I want to be able to do. Like I want to have that power.
Fantastic. And so, what law school did you go to?
I went to Delaware Law.
Okay. So then in Delaware law, you come out. Tell me, were you just like, as soon as you graduated? Because I'm sure you get this a lot too. I get a lot of women, especially Latina women, who reach out and they're like, I've always wanted to go to law school, but I hear it's hard. I hear I'm too old, or I don't have enough money, all the things. What would you share about your law school experience? And your background is your background, who cares? Like, but the world sees you as a certain way. What would you advise those women having been through law school? What would you say?
Yeah, I mean, I think like take the leap. For me, I think we need as many, like I always encourage Latina women to go to law. Like it's anytime I hear somebody say it, like I know so many people are always like, don't become a lawyer. I say the exact opposite because I'm like, we need more of our faces out here. Like 2.5 is way too little. We need more.
Oh my
We have to
gosh.
figure out a way to do it, and encouraging each other is the biggest way we can do it. What I would say is you're never too old. Um, you're there if you want something bad enough, there is going to be a community that wants to help you. I always go on threads. And I know you do the same thing, and I'm always on Instagram where I'm saying, reaching out to other, people that are Latinas that are wanting to go to law school, and I'm saying, what resources can I help you with? Who can I put you in connection with? You know what I mean? I know attorneys from all around the United States, just like you. And I'm saying, hey, listen, if I can't help you, if I'm not in the field of law that you want to go into, I'm more than happy to connect you with somebody else. Like, I'm always willing to say somebody else's name when they're not in the room, because for me, getting somebody to the next level, advancing them in some way is something that I'm really passionate about. So I always tell them, just take it, because there's a community that wants to see you win. And we're all here to back you. You just have to let us know. And one of us is going to step up to the plate and say, we know a person that wants to do the kind of law you want to get into. We know somebody who has extra books. We know somebody who, we're going to figure it out. We're going to get you there.
Absolutely. And I think it's important that you talk about like the network part of it, right? Because the school part of it, school is school. I think if anyone gets through higher education of any kind, community college, then they're like, oh, law school's so much harder. I'm like, but it kind of is not. It If you get through any kind of college or higher education, it's just more of the same, right? It's just maybe more focused. And I think people
Yeah.
scare themselves and use that to talk themselves out of it. And so I appreciate that you just brought up the other not often considered element of the network. And this is how you and I connected, right? Like I'm like, okay, she's a baddie, she's a lawyer, and Latina, stop. And not everyone is going to be receptive to that. So there's that caveat, right?
Yeah,
Because
for
I'm
sure.
sure you've experienced it where you're like, hi.
Yeah. I think it took me a long time for me to realize that not everyone wants to see you win. I think that's the really hard reality that hit me when I first went into social media, is that I was like, really? That's so
Ah,
crazy, because I genuinely want to see everybody win. Like, I've never been threatened by anybody else's success because it's never taken from me. Like, in my mind, somebody else eating isn't taking food off my plate. And
that's right.
I've just continued to say, like, for me, like, I want to see everyone win. And I think networking is so huge. And
Yeah,
if you can find people that really want to network with you, like, stay in that group, be a part of it, be active, because networking is a huge gate kept thing that a lot of Latinas aren't a part of, right? Like, that's really big a lot of the times in, like, a lot of the white spaces. And it's not as apparent in some of the minority spaces and other BIPOC spaces. And I think the big thing about it is that's where people like us come in, and we're like, hey, no, we're here, and like, we're here to support you, and we know other people that can help you get into the right rooms, will mention your name. Like, I'm not here to ever take success away from somebody else. Like, if somebody wants to hire me, they want to hire me for me, not because they don't want to hire somebody else, right? Like, I'm not coming at a disadvantage to anybody else. So I kind of view everybody else the same way. Like, your success is your success, and I'm happy for you, and I'm rooting for you, especially if you're a fellow woman in law. Like, I want to see us all win at the end of the day. So, I mean, for me, mentoring and networking is so big. It's a lot bigger than, I hate to say this, but education.
oh,
Like,
it's not
my
what you know,
parents getting
girl.
me,
It is not what you know, it is who you know. And you and I
absolutely.
both know that. And that even gets into the conversation of, oh, they only got the job because they know someone, or they only got that thing because of. And I'm like, listen, I do not discredit, unlike how people do that. I'm like, that's pretty phenomenal. Like they saw the leverage they had, the opportunity, and they seized it,
Absolutely.
right?
I think there's a lot of shame that gets put on minority women, specifically when they say they got a job because of somebody that they knew. And that is not placed on a lot of other people. And for me, I've always said, like, I'm going to embrace it. Yeah, no, I got this job because I knew this person, because I pushed myself into the right rooms, because somebody else was willing to say my name, right? Like, when I interned at the DA's, I followed somebody into an elevator to, you know, be able to also write something in the appellate unit, which I was like not even a part of that group in any capacity. And I was like in law school at the time. Like I was not formally hired. I was not, it was just an internship. But I was like, hey, I see this guy get on the elevator every day at this time. I'm going to follow him and see what I can happen. And I got to be able to write something. So I think, you know, it's all about you being willing to push yourself out there and not be embarrassed by who you know, what you know, and how you got there.
That's absolutely right. Again, and that goes to like the larger societal and cultural programming that a lot of us were born into. So there is the whole like how you talk to yourself, how you break through the fear. Or not so much because it's never about being fearless, right? It's about doing it despite being freaking terrified. And people, I'm sure, look at you because you exude confidence, like you exude agency, you exude it. And I know, being that I'm the same way, I know for a fact you do not feel like that all the time. I know for a fact you're terrified constantly, right?
Yes.
I know for a fact you're like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to do it. And this, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
100%. I mean, because I always say this, like, I never want to be the smartest person in the room. If I am, I'm in the wrong room.
That's right. That's
You know what I mean? I want to be surrounded by people that are smarter than me, that are, you know, figuring out different things that I don't know, right? That's the whole point of being around other people and, you know, having networks of groups of people that are advanced in other things that I'm advanced in, right? If everybody was the same way that I am, then it wouldn't be a service to anybody, right? We all have to be ourselves. But yeah, I mean, I think being fearless and then being like honest with yourself are also important things, right? I'm very honest with myself when it comes to taking on tasks or having information. I never tell somebody I have information that I don't have.
Yeah.
If I don't know something, I'm always like, hey, I don't know this. I'll do my best to figure it out, but I'm going to be transparent. I don't know it. This isn't my field of law.
Right.
I can put you in contact with somebody whose field of law it is, because I'm not going to get caught in malpractice.
Heck no. Heck no. And it's okay to say you don't know. There's also that. But again, going back to your network, because you are so intentional about building your network, you're like, I actually don't know this, but I know someone who does. Potentially, right? So, okay. And then I really love that you're touching on this because it is so true. Culturally, societally, we were not instructed nor emphasize the value of networking, not only just to network, but a diverse networking pool. Like you just said, how are you going to learn from the same people doing the same thing that look like you, that are in the same community with you, that are doing the same? You're in like a vacuum. And so how are you going to learn differences of perspectives and experiences and journeys? And I love that you're hitting on this because it's so not often talked about. It's always like, go to school, be a lawyer. But what are the nuts and bolts of doing that? Because once you are a lawyer, then how are you successful? Yeah, you can work in whatever respective field you have, but like, how do you truly grow and learn and push, continue to push the boundaries? Because it doesn't end at law school. Right?
Yeah, it definitely doesn't. And I think you also have to like make sure that you're always feeding your soul. Like I think that's the big thing about that gets lost in lawyers a lot of the times, is that you can just get wrapped up in your career. And you know, I know for you, and I know for me, like I make a really big point to take time for myself, to set boundaries when it comes to work, because there is just, it's too easy to fall into a vacuum, like you know, people my parents' age that work was their whole life, and that, you know, they were single faceted professionals, and that's just not it anymore. And I'm like, I have to find joy in some other things. I can't make this it for me. And I have to find a way to do that, and successfully still work.
And do you feel, because I know I feel it sometimes when I talk like that, everyone's like, oh yeah, well, not everyone has it as easy as you, Heather. You know, some of us have to sacrifice now, enjoy later. It's like, but that's backwards, and that's not how it goes. Like, enjoyment can be just unplugging a little bit for the day. It can be the things daily, but I think there's just so much shame, and there's still an emphasis on the hustle culture, especially for women. I won't be taken seriously if I'm not busting my ass, hustling, sacrificing my nervous system and self-care, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. I think that that's a really toxic mindset that continues to get pushed on us as women and as lawyers. I have an autoimmune condition. I have lupus and I have rheumatoid arthritis. So I've always been very clear since I've gotten sick that like I have to have boundaries. Because if I don't, my body creates a boundary for me. And then I'm in the hospital and it's just not, no career is worth it. Like, cause no life is worth,
No.
like I'm not risking my life anymore for a job that pays my bills. Like, yes, that's an amazing thing. I'm so grateful. I love to be a lawyer. I love to be able to advocate for people, but I can't do that if I'm so sick. Right. So I think a lot of people do view like boundary setting as this like dirty word, like especially the older generation. They're like, what do you mean that you like don't work past 6 or
You're
you have like a
lazy.
hard stop? Right. And I'm like, no. I'm like me being available to my employer or me being available to my clients are two totally different things, right? If my client calls me at whatever time, I might answer them. But if my employer calls me at whatever time, I might not answer them, right? I can have boundaries that are set for different people, that I have different views on what I need to handle at the time, right? But the reality of the situation is nothing I handle is ever super dire. And if it is, then something is going wrong along the way. Because everything that I do should be timed out correctly, that it's not like a last minute kind of thing, right? And there shouldn't be so many fires that I'm dealing with in my area of law. So I mean, for me, that is what it is. And I, a lot of people I know, like in the older generation, are like, oh, millennials are so lazy. Like, you don't want to work. When we were here until 8 p.m. And I'm like,
Yes.
that's crazy. That's horrible. Why?
Why? And you shorten your.
What did you do differently though? Like, that's my whole thing. Like, so what did you accomplish from 7 to 10? Like, what were you doing from that time frame? Like, can you give me a breakdown? Because I want to know what you think you accomplished more. Because technology is also different. So what took you 8, 10 hours to accomplish with technology now takes us a heck of a lot less time. So it's not that we're lazy, it's that we're resourceful. My dad always said that to me. He said, your greatest skill is that you're resourceful. And I think that that's a big part of it. Resources and knowing how to use them is such an amazing skill as an attorney.
Oh, or any profession for that matter.
Yeah.
And I like to say it's like work smarter, not harder.
Absolutely.
I can get done what takes you a week to do, and I can get it done in 2 days. What the job is done for both of us. Who wins truly? Like,
right.
I've not spent extra days laboring away because I'm not going to rely on that. I'm not going to ask for help. I'll do it myself. I just know so many people who do that. And I'm just like, ask for help, delegate what tools are available to you. There's something called AI. Look into it.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing. I love AI.
I do too. I'm obsessed with it. And so
I love ChatGPT.
she's my girl.
She knows everything about me now too. Like, I mean, I say think like me and I'm like, this is eerily me.
Yeah. Have you seen those funny memes where they're like, my chat GPT taking a mental health break after me trauma dumping on it? And it's a robot walking in a forest by itself.
Literally my ChatGPT.
Yeah.
My ChatGPT this afternoon when I was like, I need to send this email to opposing counsel, but make it sound professional because I'm very angry. Because that's a lot of the times what I do when I'm like, this is the message I want to send, but make this sound very professional and nice.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, ChatGPT, thank you so much because now this sounds so nice.
I say, hey, girl. And she goes, hey, girl, what's going on today? I'm like, nothing. What are you up to?
The whole conversation. It's so great.
She's so funny. She goes, I got you, girl. I'm like, thanks, chat.
They have your back.
She does. So, okay. So talking about your work, tell us what you do exactly for people who want to know what kind of law, because not all lawyers are the same. We all do very different things. It's not just what you see on TV.
Yeah, no. So I do personal injury and I do it in Pennsylvania. I'm barred in Pennsylvania. My firm handles it in PA, New Jersey, New York. But I handle it only in Pennsylvania. So I do car accidents, slip and fall, dog bites. But I mainly handle car accidents. So car accidents and slip and falls are like my main bread and butter in terms of like my most experiences in them.
Yeah.
I've had a few dog bite cases, but I would say my biggest ones are car accidents.
Yeah.
So I do plaintiff's litigation.
Yeah. So, and I also see like me, you use your platform, your social media platforms. You're not just like, I'm a lawyer, period. And I know a lot of people are, and that's their choice. I love, that's what I was attracted to you by initially. I was like, I read your bio and you put like lawyer last. And I was like, she gets it. She gets it.
Yeah.
Right?
No, I think you know what it is? I've always said people like Heather is my brand, being a lawyer is my job. So
Oh,
like it is just like a portion, it is a facet of a part of me, but it is not my whole personality. Like it's so funny because whenever I go places, it's like the last thing I tell people. It's like the last thing on the list of things people are like, what do you do? I'm like, oh, I'm a plus size model. I'm an activist. I'm a speaker. I'm also a lawyer. And they're
also,
like, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, I know everyone finds that the most interesting. And I'm like, really? I'm like, I work so hard at the other
it's my
things.
job.
I know it is. But yeah, no, because I always said to myself, I didn't want to be like a lawyer whose whole life is lawyer,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
But I love them who are. Like, there are so many, I love the TikTok lawyers. Hats off to them for making like lawyer content. I'm just always afraid of like somebody being like, that's legal advice. So like, if you look at my social media, there's very little like anything about
Yeah.
like a law in mine. Mine's all, showcasing
Yeah.
BIPOC owned businesses.
Fair.
But I very rarely talk about being a lawyer on social media unless I'm on podcasts, and then I'm like, oh yeah, no, I'm definitely a lawyer because I want people to know. Because for me, a big part of it is like getting more people into law, getting more women into the field of law is like a big thing I'm passionate about, right? Because that's the thing. I'm like, I need to see more faces that look like me. I'm so sick of not seeing anyone that looks like me ever.
I know. I echo that, and it's so important. And again, that's why I just really appreciate that you put yourself out there so visibly and authentically. Again, showcasing the lawyer side, but talk to people who are like, yeah, I want to be a lawyer, but I want to do what Heather does. Like, how can she do all of that? Because isn't success linear? Isn't success law school job, period? Because what people won't take you seriously if you are a model, if you are an influencer. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I always said I'm not your father's lawyer. Like I'm not just like a one-faceted lawyer. I'm not a one-faceted professional. That was our parents' generation, right? Because they could live off of one income. And like the reality of the situation is like in 2025, we can't live off of one stream of income. You better have multiple streams of income. And for me, it's like I knew I'm passionate about these other things and I wanted the world to see that you can be a professional and be all of these other things. Like me being a model doesn't change my ability to advocate for you, right? Like my clients, all my stuff's public. Like my clients have seen it. People have seen it. I'm not embarrassed. I never hide it. If somebody's asked me, I'm always like, yeah, no, that's me. Because the
I want
reality
to say
is,
I'm a model.
I mean, people are like, wait, you do content creation too? Like the model one isn't
Yes.
that bad sometimes because it's like, but the thing is, but the key thing is like plus size model, right? Because that's the other thing that a lot of people get upset about, right? Because I have such a dichotomy in terms of like, if I were just a straight sized person, a lot of people would probably view it differently, right? I'd be more palatable. But because I'm a plus size model, it also has that extra layer of people getting more upset, right? Like, oh, she's plus size and she's out here living her best life. And it's like, yeah, no, I am. And then on top of that, you add people like being fat phobic, and then people already hating professional women existing in a
Oh,
world that isn't professional.
oh, and
And
you're
you have two
Latina.
things. Yeah, right. And I'm a minority. Damn. They're like the amount of messages that go on my email. They're like, what? Who do you think you are?
Really?
Yeah, no, I mean,
So,
I get a lot of hate, but I get so many beautiful messages. So I mean, it's like,
so let's touch on that because that can derail people. That can paralyze and derail people, whether it's online trolls, hate messages, and I get the same. You should check my stuff. Same thing. I trigger people, right? Um, or if it's just toxic people in their lives, maybe it's not even online stuff. It's more just like people that are just fucking tearing them down constantly or passive aggressive. How do you navigate that? And what do you recommend? How do you recommend somebody views that in their life?
yeah. So, I went through a divorce and I think that thing can really break you after that.
Samesies.
Right. I think like so the internet saw me go through that, right? Because that's when I really started going on the internet. And that, I think, turned something in my body and in my life and in my brain that I'll never go back. Like, I'm just a completely different person in the concept of the way my brain functions. And I think you find a level of self-love that is like on another platform. And I think when you truly have self-love, you don't seek validation from others. And I think that's the biggest thing for me. Like, I don't seek validation in whatever responses anybody else gives me. Like, I genuinely love myself, and I know that makes people mad. And
Yes.
I know it's hard to digest, and I get it, because it wasn't so easy for me to get to that point, right? Like, it wasn't something that I just woke up one day and was like, I love everything about me. It's it's years of therapy.
Yeah.
It's accepting a lot of things that have occurred in my life. But I think that's the big thing. I think when you really love yourself, all of that stuff that people say just like kind of bounces off, right? And I always joke with my fiance now. I'm like, it's so funny. Like, I'll get like a hate message, and I'm like, I'm sitting on my couch like eating pizza, and like somebody is really out here typing some message about how much they hate me. And like, it's crazy, because like you really took the effort to write all that. And I think my best advice for people about dealing with hate is like, one, the internet is a really, really, really interesting place. It is both beautiful, and it has changed my life in so many amazing, amazing ways. Like, it has brought me success in a level that I can't think I'd ever would have gotten just myself. So I'm very grateful. In that other notion, it has brought me to places where I would never have expected people to possess as much hatred as they have.
Yeah.
But I think like you have to be kind of willing to like know that that's what's going to happen, right? It's like that thing we learn in law school, when you thrust yourself into the limelight, what people say about you is kind of what you expect, right? It just what happens. So that's what I always tell people when they're like, should I go on the internet? I'm like, can you take it? I'm like, because if you can take it, then yes, you should. But I'm not going to tell you it's sunshine and butterflies, because it isn't.
It's not.
Like, there are sometimes that are. I mean, I've had beautiful messages from businesses that have made me cry. I keep all the little notes all the little businesses have sent me. I mean, it's been amazing. But, and then there's also like 50,000 hidden messages that people tell me that like I shouldn't exist. So, I mean, you have to be able to take the good with the bad. So, I mean, yeah, my best advice is to have tough skin, and really just don't let it phase you. Like, continue to live your life in resistance of that, because loving yourself is the best resistance.
That's just it. And that I think is the answer. You led with that. You said, if you love yourself, really, like, any incoming hate or even praise, like the praise is just extra on top. Like the niceness is like, that's really nice. Wow, that's a very mean email. Those are mean words. But it bounces off. Like, you hear it, nice and bad, and it kind of just ricochets off, versus it's filling your validation cup one way or the other, or not. That's where I would warn people. Maybe if you, like you said, are not 100% sure of yourself and feel like you're fully sufficient on who you are, I wouldn't advise.
Yeah. It's an interesting world to be a part of.
It really is. So I love everything that you've done. And for people watching and listening and wanting to, obviously I'm going to tag you. So please follow Heather, follow her journeys. She's so inspirational and just provides really good general life motivation. What would you recommend? Like, two things you would recommend to anyone. Maybe they're not going to go into law. Maybe they're just trying to take that next step. Divorce, new job, seeking the promotion, trying to walk away from the toxic family, the things, get into a school, whatever. What would you say are like two takeaways?
I would say always ask for more, and never expect less.
Can you imagine if most of us got that lesson as kids? Just that.
We would be unstoppable.
If we just got a morsel of what you just said, and that was reinforced to us throughout our childhood, which a lot of us did not get that. And so that's okay. It is what it is. That's why this podcast is so important, because we're telling you now, you can start today. You can start today, right? And you
Yeah,
started somewhere, I started somewhere, and it wasn't where you are now,
absolutely.
right? And it wasn't rainbows and butterflies. It wasn't like this for you.
It was certainly not.
It was this.
It was down, then went up, then down,
And
up.
then
Yeah.
down and then more down. And I say, like, I always say, I have way more failures than I do successes. You only see the successes, but I intend to fail as often as quickly as possible daily. And so I love that. I love that. Always ask for more. Okay. You see, I'm
Thank
going to
you.
take that away today. All right. Well, Heather, I really appreciate your time. And I am just so excited to finally connect with you and share your story. And I'd love to have you back on just to plug in about just, life and motivation and inspiration. And you're an incredible example for, I think, obviously my followers, but people to look to uh, as inspiration, as seeds of hope, as how does she do it? How does she do it? And you're super communicative. So, I mean, I'm going to invite people to reach out to you. I know you'll reach out to them.
I
Um,
appreciate it.
yeah,
Thank you so much.
absolutely. And so I'm going to tag how we can find you and follow you. So everyone, please do. And I'd love to have you back soon, my friend.
Thank
All
you.
right, Heather. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in. Access this exclusive content by becoming an Empowered with Gina member today.